Well, now I reveal that I'm actually recording.
Oh my god, this is really low, dude. Just take it.
That's stuck. You're too tall for this.
Oh, man.
Summer holidays, a time in which everyone gets to kick back and relax, even if it is a little bit strange that I'm celebrating it in August for a Southern Hemisphere resident like myself. August is winter, people. With a lot of spare time and being in a foreign country, what better time to travel? So I assembled an elite group of friends from back home that had enough money to waste their time with me, and we began our summer journey of Japan. Our travels took us to places like Osaka, Kyoto, Hiroshima, and Hanamaki, and now I'm here to tell you of the 5 things that you should do during Japanese summer. First of all, Japanese summer is like nothing I've ever faced before. Sure, in Australia during summer it is really hot, but it's more of a dry heat. Here in Japan though, you have intense amounts of humidity. Especially around July and August, you take one step outside and you instantly start sweating. It's not the most pleasant experience. If there was any silver lining, I guess it's that being constantly hot while traveling will always have you in the mood for ice cream. And thankfully, Japan boasts a range of bizarre flavors that you can try. Outside of Hiroshima Castle, there is a small souvenir shop that sells Japanese sake flavored ice cream, among others.
Alright, so this is, what is it, sake ice cream? That tastes weird. This certainly tastes like sake. It's kind of got that, like, sake hint. It's, I'm not going to say bad, but strange. Should have gone the white coffee. A little bit more. Yeah. Alright, that's good. What are you doing?
Next on the list is Miyajima Island, which is a short trip from Hiroshima and is home of the mischievous deer. They don't really care for the rules. One was rudely obstructing the entrance to a restaurant, and another decided he'd fancy a poor tourist map for lunch.
Oh no, don't eat that.
If you scout the shopping streets of Miyajima Island, you'll find plenty of stores selling all sorts of ice cream. I found one that was selling another staple of Japanese food, wasabi flavored ice cream.
So, wasabi ice cream. Wow, yeah, it's got that spice, but it's not hot. It's got the taste though. That's awesome.
Try this flavor with caution though, it ended up being a bit more hot than it was cooling. While ice cream is cool and refreshing, wouldn't it be nice if you could make your entire surroundings feel the same? Well, if you go to Kyoto, that is a possibility. If you head slightly north of Kyoto, you will arrive in the area Kifune, which is a nice location that contains a shrine and running river alongside the road. What makes Kifune especially intriguing is that you can enjoy a meal atop of the river. No reservations are required, and we were able to snag a table immediately at the first restaurant we saw. While the meals will cost you upwards of $30, you are really paying more so for the experience. As soon as you sit down, you'll notice a drastic drop in temperature around you. The meal we had consisted of all sorts of things, with a fish being the main item. Clearly we had no idea how to properly eat the fish neatly, and ended up with food that looked like aftermath from a crime scene. One thing I'd absolutely recommend above all else while you're there though is to have one nice refreshing beer before you return back to the humidity. That river looked amazing, didn't it? It'd be really nice though if we could like dip our feet in it. Well, fortunately, Osaka has us covered on that one. Just north of Osaka is the area of Minu. Minu has a roughly half-an-hour trail which leads to the Minu waterfall. The waterfall itself is quite a marvel to see, and after you're done taking photos for other people, you can head down to the river and dip your feet in to cool off. There are some food and drink stalls in the area as well, so you can have something to eat and drink while you are feet deep in a river. Alright, so you've already done the first 3 things on the list, right? Good. Now it's time to get the hell out of central Japan. As I mentioned earlier, Japanese summer is quite humid, and it's especially humid in places like Kyoto and Osaka, where you have the lethal combination of mountains and lots of people. So where do you escape to, I hear you ask? You make your way up north to the Tohoku region. We decided to spend a day up in Hanamaki solely for the reason of being able to try the famous Wanko Soba noodle challenge, and I got a reasonable 45 bowls with my friends getting 55 bowls. Still though, the record for one person at the place we went to was around 312 bowls. Yeah, I don't know how that's possible.
We're all dying.
We're not even men.
Aside from the noodles, we were pleasantly surprised at how there was little to no humidity up there. So if you're feeling it's a bit too much with the humidity, definitely come up here. And of course, the one thing that you can do exclusively in summer that is on many people's to-do lists about Japan, climbing Mount Fuji. The climbing season isn't that long, it's only around for about 2 months, from July to very early September, so you really do have to plan well. Because of this, we pre-booked bus tickets that went directly from Shinjuku Station all the way to the popular starting point of the trail, many weeks before we actually climbed. Unfortunately, this also meant that we had to deal with whatever weather was presented to us on that day, and wouldn't you know it, nothing but rain. As soon as we arrived at the starting point, you couldn't see anything in the immediate distance. It was like we were living a real-life Nintendo 64 game. That didn't deter us though, as we began our climb after buying some fashionable rain jacket and pants. Things were looking bad as the rain was showing no signs of letting up, and then things got even worse when we discovered that our dear friend Tony had made quite possibly the worst purchase in history.
Alright, Tony, can you show us your amazing torch that you bought?
Well, okay, so mine was almost double the price of Nathan's, right? Double the size. Check this shit out. Check this shit out, boys. Nathan, give me a torch.
We need a comparison here. So, first Nathan's really expensive one.
No, Nathan's shit one. Look.
Oh, the shit one, yeah.
Nathan's shit one. Oh, look at that. Can't see. Look at that.
No,
Can't see nothing.
can't see anything.
Piece of crap. Now, take my far superior torch. Oh man!
Wait, put it at the wall. Oh, it looks slightly better, but... Oh, man! Oh, poor Tony.
You've been gypped, my friend.
So, you've been gypped.
Nathan, I don't know how you're gonna...
Wait, Nathan's bigger too?
Yeah.
Nathan, you're gonna have trouble circumventing these rocks, because like... I mean, because of mine, it'll force my night vision to be good.
Being rained on constantly with no shelter at all really does suck. So at one point we even managed to use our umbrellas and the piping on one of the buildings to try and make ourselves a little shelter.
Still fucking raining. Can't really see it, but there's an umbrella up there. With a light. Is this what death is like, Jack?
Yeah.
Pretty positive. We're making the most of it. Send hope.
We eventually made it to the very peak at about 1:30 AM and we were all cold, wet, and absolutely miserable. We made a decision then and there that we would forget about the sunrise since it'd be another 4 hours of waiting in the rain and cold, and we were pretty much dying at that point. Dealing with just over 12 hours of constant being rained on did sour our experience a little bit, but I'd still recommend climbing Mount Fuji to people. Just make sure the weather is perfect, and if it says it's gonna rain, I'd probably reschedule if possible. Main reason I say this is because if you don't make a reservation in one of the cabins, there is literally no cover, so you're just gonna keep getting wet. But hey, at least I can look back on this now and say that I climbed it on hard mode. Well, there you go. 5 things to exclusively do in Japanese summer. So if you hurry, you can quickly go and it's always next year, I guess.